Two teachers going for promotion to senior leadership.
At previous interviews, I had to demonstrate leadership qualities, but going for an assistant headship is a whole new level.
Something about interviews where I get very flustered, I get very nervous and panic, really.
We put them through a mock interview.
So what would be the difference between achievement and attainment?
Give them expert coaching.
I've got drive and passion as well.
Superb, fantastic. Take another step up.
And interview them again to see if they can improve their performance. To help conquer the perils of the job interview, two teachers will face an interview panel for a senior leadership post.
Unas botas.
First up is language teacher Mike Lambert.
Un vestido. Una camisa. Unos pantalones.
Currently a teaching and learning leader, he's looking for an assistant headship.
When you're head of department, you get past a lot of decisions that have been made above you onto your department. But I really want to be in a position where I can take an idea and run with it and make it happen, make a difference for the kids. Is that all right? Yes. Excellent, brilliant, guys. I do actually quite enjoy interviews. I quite enjoy meeting people. However, this next job I'm going to be going for, that's a pretty important job for me, so I want to make sure that I'm as good as I can be for that.
The second candidate is Rebecca Clark.
Year 7, can I have your attention, please?
After 3 years as an assistant head, she's determined to become a deputy head, but lacks confidence.
Obviously, having been at the same school for 11 years, I've only had internal interviews, and at my last one, which was for the assistant head position, I was actually sick on the day. A number of you may have reported back. It's just something about interviews where I get very flustered and I get very nervous and panic, really. I feel I'm at the right stage in my career now to make that move. The only thing that's holding me back would be the interview process at the moment.
Today, the posts are fictitious, but the panel is formidable. Between them, they've interviewed over 500 candidates. Leadership expert and parent governor, Sarah Milne-Rowe.
I would advise anyone to think of an interview as a performance in the same way as a sportsman or woman would think of an event as something they build up for, and an actor would think about the rehearsal process that's integral to the success of the show.
Primary Head Teacher of the Year 2007, Kevin Harkham.
The first few seconds of the interview are absolutely vital, and that starts from when you walk into the room. I remember when I was interviewing for deputy heads, the panel saying later, that person, when she walked into the room, looked like a leader.
And Anita Johnson, head teacher of an outstanding London secondary school.
One of the key things is to show your personality. And if you show that personality and show somebody who's enthusiastic and passionate about what they're doing, then most of the panel would enjoy actually talking to you.
The interviews will be observed by education coach Simon Cooper-Hind.
As a profession, we always underestimate our own abilities. And in an interview, it's got to be the other way around. You've got to really shine and show how good you are in order that actually you secure that job for yourself.
First to face the interrogators is Mike.
In 25 words, describe your vision of a school. Quite a tough question, but...
A school should be a place where pupils can develop, where they can grow, where they can succeed, and where they can feel safe. Have I got any more words?
No, that's about it, actually. Well done. How would you evolve a monitoring system using data to improve student attainment?
OK, well, it's key to check how staff are using data at present. So you need to have an audit of what was going on at present to find out where you can move to.
OK, taking that a bit further, what other data would you use?
We have our ALPS data.
OK.
And we have...
That's an A-level data, so at GCSE?
At GCSE, I think that's the data we currently use for TD. I'm not aware of other ones.
OK, so you're not currently using any Key Stage 2 data?
Oh, sorry, apologies, yes. Yeah, we do use Key Stage 2 to Key Stage 4 data now.
So what would be the difference between achievement and attainment?
Achievement and attainment? I'm sorry, I don't know. I've always used the two interchangeably, I have to say.
In terms of your core beliefs, your core values in education, which one would you actually lie down in the road for and say, no, this is staying?
I think in terms of teaching in the classroom, I think variety. I'd like kids to be engaged, and I think when we move to a system where kids would recognise what is going to happen in every class, then they are going to be disengaged and they're going to turn off. So I think a variety on a variety of levels there, if you like.
Safeguarding is high on Ofsted agenda at the moment. What does this mean to you?
Are we talking about safeguarding of children?
Safeguarding generally in terms of the Ofsted criteria of safeguarding, what does that mean to you?
I'll go along the route of, well, I'm talking about safeguarding of children. It's everybody's business in the school to make sure that children are safe and looked after. The Every Child Matters agenda would ensure that. And so everybody's responsibility, senior management involved and senior management, to ensure that everybody's informed of what they should be looking at to ensure that children are safe.
Thanks, Mike, very much.
Thanks very much.
So, what does the panel think?
From my point of view, I think he's a very personable young man, but he lacks knowledge and basic foundations of which, at this level, he should have better knowledge of.
I agree with that, but it doesn't concern me too much because they're the things that you can teach quite quickly. All right, he may not have had that experience thus far, but in this new setting he could do. And as you say, the interpersonal skills are good.
I felt he was somebody who was passionate about teaching. He came alive in certain questions for me, and then there were other questions like I felt safeguarding was a really big weak answer. I thought there's so much attention going on to safeguarding at the moment that in terms of his preparation for an interview like this, I would expect him to really get that.
Simon, just have a look at the question about the core values. His answer was variety. That is not a core value.
That was weak. When he expanded on it, he got down more to what he meant. I think variety was the word that rose to the top of his mind.
Do you feel that once he was under pressure, he then started to waffle?
Yes.
Yes.
And lose his way?
Yes. And I think the question that put him out of kilter was the data question. When I came back, what was the difference between achievement and attainment? And at that point, he lost his confidence. So he needs to be able to regroup, forget that question and move on. But I did like his honesty.
I think build on the honesty and say, well, I don't know now, but I can find out very quickly, or I know the right person to ask.
I'm Sarah, the parent governor.
Now it's Rebecca's turn. Will nerves get the better of her?
This is going to be a bit of a toughie, but in 25 words, describe your vision of a school.
I would want a school to be somewhere where it's a community, it's a place where children can achieve, that is supportive, inclusive, safe. It's about not even just the students achieving, staff achieving, fulfilling their potential as well. How am I doing with words?
You're doing really well.
Just trying to keep a count of those.
Okay. How would you evolve a monitoring system using data to improve student attainment?
What I think is really important, and something I've been involved in this year quite a lot, is with our Year 11 students, and starting to actually develop that now for our Year 10s, would be where we've met with all the heads of department based on their mock. We've looked at where key stage is. We've then got two other groups, which are our target raisers and our achievement groups, and we've split it so it's boys and girls as well. So we're looking at things like gender. So it's a number of different things we're actually doing as well. Are they on target for achieving that with English and maths? Are they not going to achieve it with English and maths?
Okay, Rebecca, I'm going to cut the question. You answered that really well.
Okay.
Well done.
I presume in your teaching career you've helped improve colleagues' performance one way or another. Can you talk me through what sort of things you've done?
Well, this year and last year I've been line managing the head of citizenship at my school, and one of the things I've tried to support her really was her management of that department. Citizenship. So what we did, we met and we set some targets for what we predicted, what we wanted the department to achieve. The support that I gave her, then I asked her to give me things, okay, give me for this term, when are you going to meet with that as a team? When are you going to then meet with that person? So it was those kind of things as well. It wasn't me stepping in and doing it. It was about asking her to do those things. And then we put a revision package together for the students that she delivered.
That's fine, you've answered that really fully, thank you.
If you were to describe your leadership style as an animal, what type of animal would you be and why?
Maybe a bit like a cat. Okay, I know that, you know, you've got cats that can be quite calm and restful, but at the same time, if something upsets it, it will get up and it will react to it and do something about it. I want to move things forward. I'm quite ambitious in that way. So, you know, if you see a cat and there's like a little mouse or something, and it will go after that and try and catch it. So in that way, I suppose.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what do they think of Rebecca?
Her foundations are good. I think she's an excellent candidate. She has got a good knowledge base. I think there were some excellent answers there.
I think it was quite clear from all her answers that she's tremendously hard-working and has thought about career prospects and has made sure she knows and gets involved in certain things, and the passion was there for the children.
Actually, Simon, I think that she needs to manage her nerves, because I think we've got a candidate here who has a real passion for teaching and learning, and she had so many specific examples for her questions. She needs to breathe, she needs to stop, and she needs to really give herself... I felt she was just one stage ahead of her sentences, so they came out too quickly.
Okay, I think Rebecca really does need to think about how she comes into the room and how she sits down. Her body language is quite slumped. She needs to sit back a little bit. She needs to believe in who she is, and she needs to think about the colour of her dress. It's all very black. It's one colour, so she's setting about one dimension. Whereas if she used just a few accessories, I sound like Gok Wan.
You are Gok Wan.
If she used a few accessories and changed the colour slightly, then she would be coming forward and feel more confident in herself.
She needs someone to tell her how good she actually is.
She does.
No one else is going to blow her trumpet for her. She's got to come in and tell us how good she is.
Now, Simon has just 1 hour with each candidate to transform them into serious contenders for senior leadership. The first issue for Mike, weak answers.
So what would be the difference between achievement and attainment?
Achievement and attainment. I think it identified some gaps in my knowledge, which I'd need to sort out before having another interview.
What could you do about those gaps in your knowledge?
I think that's a question of going back and speaking to people, specialists in those areas, perhaps within my own school, reading the appropriate reports and just making sure that I'm aware of the terminology that's currently in use.
They also felt his responses needed more focus.
What one thing would you lie down in the road for in education?
I think variety.
How do you feel you answer that question?
Well, as I was leaving the room, I was immediately aware that this wasn't the top quality answer. It's not as good an answer as saying the students first off. I agree. But
I haven't said that.
No, oh, sorry, no. I agree with your facial expressions.
Okay. Can I ask you just to write down 5 key headings that you would want to bring into a question about leadership?
So, accountability. I think treating people individually.
Okay.
Target.
Communication.
Using the headings, Mike can structure an answer more clearly.
I'll ask you a favour. Sure. Can I ask you to stand up? Sure. I want you to move from here, moving through to here, and you put these more or less together.
Okay.
I want you to structure an answer for me. Talk to me about your leadership within school.
I think it's important to know exactly who you're leading, making sure that you understand what makes them tick. That will allow you to kind of get down to what will help them. Talking to those people, making sure that you've communicated as effectively as you can with them so that you're both on the same wavelength, and then working towards some sort of target, some sort of accountability for those targets, and perhaps having used the data available to us from the school to show them why these targets are appropriate to them.
Okay. How did that process feel for you?
Yeah, that was really good. That made it very clear, actually. Okay. Thanks very much.
Now it's Rebecca's turn. It was nerves that let her down.
Can I ask you to stand up? Do you mind?
Yeah.
Let's take a situation that actually, this pillar here is you have utmost belief in yourself,
Right.
and that job you're going to is yours.
Okay.
Working down here towards this pillar, where you walked in that room and you thought, I can't do this. Where would you put yourself between those two pillars on today's interview?
I would say I was probably 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
About
Right.
50-50.
What do we need to do to move you up that way?
I've got to believe in myself more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't you believe in yourself?
Having been in the same school for a long time, it's about knowing that what I do now and what I want to do, I'm actually able to do somewhere else.
Okay. So do you believe you've got that ability?
Yeah.
So can we take one step up then?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What else have you got?
I've got experience. I've got a lot of experience
Yeah.
as well.
Brilliant. Okay. How do you feel now? Take another step up. So we suddenly moved from halfway to here. Keep going. This is good.
I've got drive and passion as well.
Superb. Fantastic. Take another step up.
And I've got ideas. I like to think outside of the box. Quite experimental and new ideas.
What you just shared with me is all the skills that you needed to walk into that room with the confidence to say, this is my job.
Mm-hmm.
So where are you going to stand now?
Step one more up.
Are you?
It's the post.
Okay.
Now, can Rebecca think of 5 key words to describe her strengths?
Say the first word.
Passion.
Show me. How are you going to sit?
I think I've got to sit back a bit more, maybe.
Okay. What's the next word?
Drive.
How are you going to sit?
I think sit up a little bit more.
Oh, sit up. Sit. Okay. What else?
Hard-working.
Look at the way you shoulder now, so keep going. What else?
Okay. Inclusive.
Look at the way you put your hands.
Yeah.
All inclusive.
And then the last word, supportive.
Don't stop. Don't move. Just turn your eyes now and look in the mirror.
Right.
How does that look?
I suppose before I was sitting forward a lot more, now I'm sitting back, more powerful in a way, you know, in control and confident.
You've just shared with me the fact that actually you have all the skills necessary to take on a senior leadership position. So tell me why you were ever going to worry again about going into an interview.
When you put it like that, then maybe I shouldn't be worried. It's, you know, it is about having that belief and being secure in that knowledge that that's what I believe in. And I can't think of anything to argue with you about on that now.
After the tension of the interview process, Mike has been unwinding on the beach and working on the strategies Simon gave him.
I've been preparing for my next interview. I've been speaking to various assistant heads at school and making sure that I'm filling those gaps in knowledge. I've made a series of cards on each topic, so I'm able to walk through the answers to any question that comes up. So all in all, I think I've got a reason to feel a little bit more confident going into that next week.
I found the coaching really useful. It made me really reflect on the whole package for interviews, not just about answering the questions, but the way I present myself. It's also the words that I was given, trying to just go through those words and think about them and just keep remembering that they're my strengths and things that I think are really strong. Just recapping over those makes you feel a lot better about yourself and makes you believe in yourself.
It's the day of the second interview. Our expert panel are back to judge Mike and Rebecca's performance. Are they ready for senior leadership?
When I sit down, I will be thinking about, you know, making sure that I am sitting up straight, I've got my shoulders back, having those words go through my head again.
I'm feeling rather more confident now. I feel like I've filled in the gaps in knowledge. I'm ready to face the panel.
Hi, Mike. Welcome.
Nice to see you again.
How would you evolve a monitoring system using data to improve student attainment?
When we're looking at data, you've got to look at the attainment and the achievement of the pupils. So you've got to look at what they're...
What's the difference between attainment and achievement?
So essentially, their attainment is the eventual grades they're going to come out with their data, and the achievement is relative to their progress. So you're looking at what they came in with at Key Stage 2 and what they're moving forward to, and the difference between the two.
Share with us one example of a school initiative that you yourself have been involved in.
A school initiative, a teaching and learning initiative we looked at this year was about introducing risk into the school. It emerged that students were getting a little bit bored with a formulaic approach to lessons. There was nothing to excite them. And so we've been encouraging staff to take on more and more risks, to try out activities they haven't tried before, to have a go at something. And to that effect, I've been producing some resources. I've been gathering resources from other staff who've tried ideas, and they're all now stored centrally. And I'm hearing back from staff and from students on a regular basis as to how they're progressing with those risk activities.
If we were to offer you the position of assistant head, what would you do within your first 20 days?
Wow. Presidents get 100 days, don't they? In terms of taking on any leadership position, you have to show that you're a good communicator, show that you get yourself known to the team, make the team aware that you're available and you're approachable and that they can come and talk to you for positive or negative reasons and such like. I would like to show myself as a good role model, but, you know, starting to delegate tasks and to show that I was able to hold people accountable.
Thank you very much,
That's
Mike.
a pleasure. Thanks very much. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Now Rebecca. Is she feeling more confident?
So a scenario for you. It's your first day in the job and you arrive to find that the head has flown off to Rio with the business manager taking all of the school budget with them.
Okay.
What are the first 3 things you'd have to do?
I would have to contact the chairman of the governors. I would also have to inform the borough and get in contact with the LEA, inform them. And the third thing I believe I'd have to do is probably contact the police.
OK, thank you.
What frustrates you most in your job as a leader from day to day, on a day-to-day basis?
I think for me it comes back to the students again, not the students frustrating me, but sometimes where I feel that we're not always doing enough to support them and to develop them and take them on that journey in education, and where we don't all work together to do that. We don't bring everyone together and work as a team.
What one example of a whole school initiative have you been part of and have led?
At present, a large piece of work that I'm working on is Year 10 and Year 11 interventions. So I've been responsible for collecting the raw data on those students and then around that planning interventions to match their needs. And I've led that at meetings and reporting back to the monitoring board as well on that.
Thank you very much, Rebecca.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
I think the interview went much better than last time. I felt a lot more confident. I felt like I was dressed for the part better. And so that helps me walking in there feel much more comfortable and up for the interview, really.
I think the interview went much better. I was much more confident with some of the answers I gave. I felt that I'd filled the gaps in knowledge. There was 1 or 2 things that still caught me out, but that's fair enough.
But does the panel think they've upped their game?
I'm glad to see between the previous interview and this interview that you've obviously done something on your knowledge base, but you've also developed a better way of answering questions. You've not waffled as much, and what you've done has been quite succinct in the answers. My concern is that you have never shown a departmental impact or a year impact, so you don't have anything that's proven just to you. Okay.
Thanks for that.
I thought your first interview was fine. I thought your second one was much better. You've clearly built on your knowledge base since last time, and also your warmth and your personality, which are 2 of your biggest assets, came across, and that's important. That's one of the things we're looking for. You injected some humour. You talked about President gets 100 days. Just be a little bit wary of making it sound too flip. It's a fine judgment, and you have to weigh up the panel as much as they weigh up you. But I was impressed. I'd like you to talk a little bit more about you, the things you do. I did this, I did that, I did this as part of a team, because it's you we're buying into in this interview. But well done.
You have a tendency under pressure to go fast. So my advice to you is to remember that that's where adrenaline pushes you, and to pause more. You have fillers that will suddenly come in and go, right, sure, okay, and there's a sort of, I feel there's a pressure for you to get into the answer. And I think you could afford to stop and really take in what the question is.
Thank you.
Okay. Rebecca. Kevin, would you like to kick off?
You know your stuff. You know your stuff really well, and your empathy with the children and your passion for the job do come across to some extent. The first time round, there was a fair bit of waffle before we got to the meat. This time round, you're much bang, 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 and you got your answers in there. So again, well done.
Yes, I think it's a matter of confidence for you. And what I noticed in the second interview experience, I felt you had more of it. So whatever you were doing, it was working. I thought you smiled more, which was great. And there's something for me around just feeling it in your body, that confidence. I want you to allow yourself out, really, more. So a big improvement, I felt.
Thank you.
Okay.
There's several different things that I think you need to consider. The first thing is I do think you're going to have to do a sideways move because you've got one school. On your CV, would this pass through a DH level? Probably not. Somewhere on this CV, you need to sell one thing. I have been kept in this school because I've been promoted again and again because of the qualities and the leadership that I show. Otherwise, they wouldn't have wanted to keep you. That is something you've got to sell on here, okay? When you come in for a headship interview, it's, do you look like you are the head? Okay, so if you walk in like that, okay. No one's going to buy that. If you walk in like you own the place beforehand, that's what they're buying. They're buying the image, they're buying the way you dress, they're buying the way you look, they're buying the way you look at people.
It's the 5-second impact bit.
It is. This isn't about putting on a mask or a show that's not you. It's about finding out which costume basically fits you and not copying anybody else. It's really about finding out, this is me and this is what I feel comfortable in.
You know, you've got a really lovely smile. My worry at interview with you would always be one thing, is he going to be too much of a nice guy? And I would. So you've got to come in with a bit of steel occasionally. Okay?
Well done.
Yeah,
well done.
Really well done.
I think I'm going to go away from this experience and be a lot more confident about interviews. I know that I would be able to do the job and I know I'll do it well, so I feel very confident about that and really know how to prepare myself better in the future.
It's been a great experience. I've really enjoyed myself. I think I've got a lot out of it. The feedback that came back to me was very useful. I can use it really well. Hopefully next time I go to interview I'll be stronger than ever.
For further interview tips from the panel, see the web clips on the programme page at www.teachers.tv.